Good morning. This is December 26, 2020, the day after Christmas. I had some more thoughts, and this one thought I want to hit this morning. I don't know how far I'm going to go with it, but I've been thinking about Christmas this year. It's truly been, as a whole, a time for sadness for many people. For many people died this year from the coronavirus, plus other things such as cancer, heart attack, and other issues. So not everybody died from the coronavirus this year, but a lot have. And when I hear about somebody dying, that's generally the first thing I think of. They had the coronavirus. And it's been a very sad year, and I want to get into the scriptures before I get any further. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, again in verse 1, to everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, a time to speak, time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he have laboreth? I'm going to pick an unusual title. I don't know how much this really goes with it, but I did catch one while I was reading it. Definitely, I think it ties to it. I'm dealing with it. This is going to sound strange. What happened, Sargent Humbug? What happened, Sargent Humbug? This year has been a time of sorrow. It's been a bad year overall. You know, it looked great when I first started out. Went on the road to Arkansas and was doing so well preaching in different churches. Then I went to the preacher's meeting. I stopped in Missouri, preached there, stopped and preached in a couple churches in Oklahoma, and went on to Alabama. I was originally going to go to California, but I'm glad I didn't, because it would have been a long haul from California to Florida, let me tell you. But anyway, enough there. Then once I got to Florida, all things happened. I was basically so many ways stranded in Florida from February to June. I wish now I'd stayed in Florida a little bit longer, because when I came back to Virginia, I caught the coronavirus. So there you have it. Then I went back to Florida for a while. Anyway, this is what I was wanting to deal with, specifically Christmas. Most of us, like I said, many probably had one of the hardest Christmases they've ever had this year. I can understand why. Some people, this was probably the worst time they had in their life. You know, Christmas, even in a good Christmas, there's always a lot of sorrow, as a lot of us find out. I'd say it was worse for a lot this year. I started bell ringing again this year. I've been doing it since 2015 as a worker for the Salvation Army. I've had some good years, and I've had some great years. I look back 2015, my first year, it was such a great year. It wasn't the best, but it was very good and thrilling. Just, a new experience in my life, and I enjoyed every minute of it. There were troubles and trials. In fact, I'll leave it there. One thing I liked the most about that year was the very last day outside without a coat on December 24th, feeling very warm. But even if I was going to tell you, put it in a level, it would have been number 2 or number 3 of the best years. The best year was clearly 2018. It was the top of the year for me, because I know I brought a lot more in than I usually did. I saw several prayers answered, and it's just amazing. Then that Christmas, since my wife Sharon passed away in 2015, 2018 was the best Christmas I've had since she passed. Believe it or not, this year was number 2. If I go by since the time my wife Sharon passed. Back to bell ringing. This was one of the worst I had. I'm not saying worst collecting money for the Salvation Army. I'm saying it was worse because things were so different. We didn't have as many people working for them this year. Just things were more chaotic. But there was one other thing, and this is where I'm heading to. Back in 2018, there was an elderly man. He would come by. He was a Vietnam veteran over Route 50, Walmart in Winchester, Virginia, near the hospital. I call him Sargent Humbug. I have no idea what his real name is. But whenever I'd say have a great day and Merry Christmas to him, he would generally answer back, "Bah, humbug!" Now you see why I call him Sergeant Humbug. He was a Vietnam veteran. He was really acted like he was angry at the world. Like I said, he had a way of always answering, "Bah, humbug." I never found out his name, but I'll tell you one thing I did for the longest time after that. I had a burden for the soul of Sergeant Humbug. Yes, I won't say he didn't fully intimidate me, because if I was going to deal with an intimidation level, starting at number 1 didn't intimidate at all. Going up to 10 being the highest, extreme intimidation, just couldn't even take it, just that bad. I have to give him a number 3. I felt intimidated. It was not pleasant. Thank God I didn't let it get the best of me. In fact, if anything, it caused me to have compassion for the poor man. I remember Easter 2019. I had a burden for him, and there was 2 people in particular I chose. I forget if it was Good Friday that year or Easter Day. I think it was Good Friday. I prayed for Sergeant Humbug, and if you know who the other person, somebody I've never even met, but I've read a lot about, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, known better as AOC. Wow. I'll leave that alone. I had a burden and really prayed for them too, best I could that day. I've preached the message before, caring for Sergeant Humbug. It's on YouTube. I recommend the later date one than the earlier date one, because I went too much rabbit trail in the earlier date. But the second one, I stayed to the subject. this is what I was wanting to say. One of the reasons why bell ringing was sad. I may have been on Route 50, Walmart, maybe 3 times, maybe 4. I forget how many, and I'm not really going to worry about that. Not one time did I see Sargent Humbug. I asked the other bell ringers, was there a Vietnam veteran that came by and would go bah humbug to you sort of a mean way? Without exception, they said no. This is a source of sorrow. Where is Sargent Humbug? You know, he was clearly in his 70s. He, last year, did not look as good. One time I saw him in 2019, he did not look as good as he did in 2018. I thought he looked like he was sickly. Not knowing his name, I could not just look him up online, see if he was dead or alive, or died or not. I don't know where he is now. And I wonder where he is now. I've preached a message, I wonder where they are. I got it from a story by the late Theodore Kyle. By the way, I took the title from Theodore Kyle, where he talked about in World War II on the North Atlantic, a very cold place too, mind you. He saw a ship on fire one night, and they was heading towards it to rescue the people. They said they got close enough where you could see 5 men on a raft and a burning ship, burning at sea, and 5 men waving frantically. When all of a sudden they got the order to go pull away. I wonder where, he called it, I wonder where they are. I don't blame him, because I'd be wondering too whatever happened to those men. And that's what's happening now with me. I wonder where Sargent Humbug is. Did he die? It's very possible. He was in his 70s clearly. The coronavirus being out, and I don't even know if that would have been it necessarily. He just looked like a sickly man in 2019. Tore me up. I agree, he may not have died. He may have been sick, even in a nursing home. He may have just stayed home because he didn't want to get COVID-19, the coronavirus. I don't know. May he moved. We don't know. Just not knowing. It's been a source of sorrow for me. I one time had a burden for him. I still care for his soul, though I don't have the burden that I did like I did 2 years ago, but it's not that I don't care. I do. Because of that, I just want to deal with a different form of sadness. A lot of times in life, we will meet people. We'll try to witness to them. Maybe because they moved, or maybe because we've moved, or maybe because of some other things that have happened in our lives. We lose all contact with them. You ever ask where are they at now? Some people don't want you to contact them again. That ain't always because they hate you. Sometimes they just got so much to do, they just don't have time for other people and stuff like that. I understand. Or some tragedy may have happened in their life and has kind of pushed them into a state of reclusement. But I'll tell you what, it saddens me, for I wonder, has he died? If he has died, did he go to heaven? Or did he somewhere along the line, make things right with God? Make heaven? Or did he continue his own way? Split hell. I don't know. But this morning, let's not quit caring for the souls of men. Let's continue to witness to them. As it says here, there's a time to get, verse 6, and a time to lose. God may just put them in my life for a short season so I could pray for the man. My prayers in vain, I don't know. I wish I'd done more to reach him, I will tell you that. This morning, let us all think about those people we one time witnessed to and have lost all contact with now. Think about them. You can find out, may it be good to try contacting some of them. If not, it may be better not to try. But this morning, let us not lose our burdens for the souls of men. Amen. That's my main thought now. Let us not quit caring for people who are lost and on their way to hell. You know what? Even though I don't know where he is, I think I will say some prayers for him today and for the rest of this week. I don't know. May I'll find out what happened. I don't know his real name. All I can tell you, if you look up Sargent Humbug, the best thing you'll probably find is my video caring for Sargent Humbug. And now this one, whatever happened to Sargent Humbug, let's not stop caring for people. This morning, let's do all we can to reach the lost. God bless you.